looking at a lot of other stuff, and now it's mainstream news today. Roger is almost a reluctant source, because I have my other sources. He's a public source. He doesn't like his sources to dry up, so I just try to bounce stuff off of him. But now he can obviously talk about more of his intel. What is currently happening? Because the word is the president is very angry and is about to make some major shifts in the way he's been governing so far. I know he's tried to be inclusive. He's tried to work with people. He's been very conciliatory, and it didn't look like that was taken as a sign of strength. Is that accurate, Roger? And just tell us where we are right now.
Let me say this. Donald Trump is not a man that you push into the corner. He is a fighter, and he will come back to you with everything he has. I think he said that the communications operation can't keep up with him. He is ahead of his own people, and that's a problem. He is not being well served by Sean Spicer and the entire communications shop, which needs to be more proactive. Right now, they're dealing with incoming every day, but they're not out there selling the president's line and the president's point of view and the president's program. They're not servicing local media, going around the networks to local affiliates, which would be amazingly popular and successful. You could go to Miami or Chicago, reach millions. Isn't being done. So I think that the search is on for a new communications head. I think generally speaking, people are pleased with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She's done a credible job, and she's ideal for the #2 position. I think she's proven that under fire, Alex. But the wholesale communication shop, I think, is going to get a makeover. Meanwhile, the fight over Anthony Scaramucci continues. Scaramucci, a Trump loyalist, who the transition announced would be an assistant to the president, still remains in abeyance. His appointment frozen by Reince Priebus. His access to the Oval Office frozen by Reince Priebus on the pretext that the sale of Scaramucci's very successful company to a Chinese entity is somehow blocking his appointment. At the same time, I checked, Alex, the president's chief economic advisor, Gary Cohn, liberal Democrat from Goldman Sachs, still has Bank of China stock in his portfolio, stock that he said he sold weeks ago. So Scaramucci, a true believer, a real conservative, widely liked in the Trump movement, being blocked by Republican National Committee hacks like Reince Priebus.
So what we have is unjust weights and measures. We have selective enforcement. We have Scaramucci playing by the rules, and then you've got Goldman Sachs boys in there who are allowed to do whatever they want, just like the globalists always are. You were on yesterday, and you were on fire, and if you could just repeat that, because you got interrupted by a break, and I was actually watching it last night and was frustrated by the fact that we had to go to break. You were getting into the fact that your quote was, they made a mistake dealing with Trump. If you can get back into that.
Well, I just think that across the board, the whole Comey thing has created a situation in which the president is unhappy with the beating he's taking from the mainstream media. He is unhappy with the response by his communications team. He very skillfully, as Mike Cernovich told us yesterday, was able to keep the Comey thing from leaking, which is a first in the Trump White House, because the staff put together by Reince Priebus leaks like a sieve. I think he's angry, and I think he knows that he needs better people to get the mission done. And I know that he is privately placing calls and talking to people. I have to wonder whether this is going to spill over into the FBI selection, Alex, because as I looked at that list this morning, I think it was up on Fox, there's not a Trump person there. These are all Washington insiders. There's nobody there who's loyal to Donald J. Trump and his mission, and that concerns me very greatly.
Yesterday, you made the point, they made a mistake. They pushed Trump too hard. And again, can you get back into...
I may have to go back and look at my exact quote because I was exhausted, but I need a little more frame of reference.
Well, you were just saying that he tried to work with people. They attacked him. They lied.
Yes, now I understand. Yeah, larger context. I think the president came into office, Alex, thinking that he would get the same honeymoon as other presidents, that the election was over. It was time to unite the country.
First 6 months.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton said something mildly conciliatory. So he met with Al Gore. He met with Al Sharpton. He indicated that he didn't favor the prosecution of Hillary Clinton. He thought that the country would come together as they have after other raucous political contests.
There wasn't a honeymoon. There was a war moon.
They moved on him immediately. And on every quarter, I think he is particularly angry that they have promulgated this Russian collusion nonsense, but they refuse to look into the crimes of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and the Clinton Foundation and Chelsea Clinton. And he's sick of it. I think he is sick of it, and it's his government. I don't understand why the Republicans in the House and Senate Intelligence Committees are not more proactive into examining what we know to be the surveillance at Trump Tower. The Justice Department not active enough in looking into the surveillance at Trump Tower. So from the president's point of view, we're obsessed with Russia, but we're not looking at the surveillance of the Republican candidate for president of the United States. Yes, I think it really pisses him off, and it should.
Absolutely, and you know, in a wider area, you made the point, is they made a mistake. They pushed him too far. Now he's on the warpath.
Yeah, I think all holes are barred. All holds are barred now. In other words, no holds are barred now. In other words, he tried to play patty cake with the establishment. He tried to bring them in and have national unity, and he's been spurned. Now he's got to scorch the earth. He's got to do what they did in the 70s. He controls the Justice Department. They are criminals. I think that that a Donald Trump in fighting mood is big problems for the political establishment and for the globalists.
That's right. And they use his honesty as if it's a weakness. He has the deputy head of the Justice Department and others come out and say, no, we recommend you fire Comey. The Democrats had all called for it as well. And he goes, yeah, I got that too, but I was already getting in the mode to do it because of just how weird he acts and all the things he does. He won't investigate the leaks and this made-up Russia thing. And they go, oh, my gosh, you just admitted to obstruction of justice. No, he's so honest. There is no Russia deal. He won't go after Hillary for all of her Russia stuff when it's all cut and dried. That's what Trump's saying. And then, of course, the last straw was from my sources, and it wasn't in the news until this weekend. We reported it last week. Was Trump was really upset over the fact that Comey sat there and said that he was crazy, that Obama was surveilling him when it's admitted, and he talked to the House intelligence head, and Trump's the president. He already knows all that information, just can't release it because it's classified, and knows that they were surveilled. There's just nothing there. So they keep using that wall of, oh, it's classified, but, oh, we also didn't surveil them when they admitted they surveilled them. This is a scandal. The president has them caught with their pants down, and the media wants to pretend like this never happened, this never went on, this never unfolded. And so you've got the FBI director saying the president's crazy, and he's nauseated, mildly, it's like half pregnant. I'm mildly pregnant, I'm mildly nauseous, though that I might have helped Trump. This isn't just being neutral, this is being a cheerleader against the president, some little drama queen that wants to be popular with the corporate whore, dying dinosaur media.
Well, and in all honesty, there's a lot of troubling things here, but one of them is this notion of inconsistency. There's no inconsistency between what the president said. He was troubled about Comey. I think he made his decision.
Trouble means there's a lot of problems.
Right. And now he gets a legal memo that gives him, as most people use their lawyers, the legal justification for getting rid of him. There's no inconsistency there. This is a shark fest by the master.
A day after his surrogates say it all, he goes and says what he really wants, which is it's because he's truthful. And you know him well, people that know him well, but he doesn't like teleprompters. He feels like it's lying. He doesn't have notes. He just goes. He's so truthful.
And he has not yet even got into the HSBC issue with this guy. Comey gives these guys a pass, essentially, on multi-billion-dollar fraud, and then he joins the board and he gets paid for it by them. I mean, this is.
Well, that's why Trump knows, what is it, 80-something% of the FBI absolutely hate Comey. The claim that they're crying is a lie. We're going to go to break and come back and break all this down on the other side. But The FBI is ready to expose Comey. The word is Comey was compromised big time. All that, oh, lordy, lordy, I'm just your little preacher boy here, 19 feet tall. I love little birdies that are in the trees. No, remember, Obama wanted Comey. What's that tell you about Comey? So Comey wants to play around. The FBI is going to burn him. We'll be right back. All right, coming up, we're going to play some clips of different law professors on national television saying Trump is Nixonian. Trump thinks he's above the law. Trump's committed all these crimes and misdemeanors. They all wanted Comey fired. And I know you, the audience, gets this, but we've got to understand the mindset of the left and the Soros folks. They had their world government. They had everything. They were flooding our borders with Islamicists. They believe we would put up with anything. They're telling us get rid of the genders, ban Mother's Day. This is a cult of control. They want to see what they can get you to do. They want to make you as weak as possible. These are social engineers. So this is a short segment, Roger. Long segment coming up. Big picture from your sources. How is the president doing? I know he's angry. I know he's upset. That's good because we are in a total war. They're never going to compromise. They want to kill the idea of nationalism. But big picture, I think people need to understand just how serious this death battle is. Some people bitch and complain that Trump can't deliver everything right away. What do you expect? We're in a total war. We know he's good by his enemies.
I don't know how anybody could have expected that the president was going to undo 30 years of bad decisions in global government in a week or in, or in 100 days. The 100 days thing's a phony measurement anyway. He has an entrenched bureaucracy. It is him alone fighting the world in Washington. He's surrounded by a hostile press corps. He is surrounded by a hostile Congress, because if you take the liberal Democrats and the yellow-bellied establishment Republicans, they unfortunately are still a majority.
And by infiltrators.
And then he has made the mistake, I think, of opening the door to infiltrators. In an attempt to get people of quality, he's overlooked some of their anti-Trump credentials. Why, for example, would we appoint Kay Bailey Hutchison, the former senator from Texas, a never-Trumper who made vicious attacks on Donald Trump, to be the NATO ambassador? This makes no sense to me, but that's who Rex Tillerson and his puppet master, Condoleezza Rice, are pushing for that job. Unbelievable, Alex, just unbelievable.
And they lie to him about the health care bill. He famously delegates. They lie about him. Notice now he met with Rand Paul, said we'll have a better version. Rand Paul helped. Now a much better version has passed the House. It's showing, like you always say, you obsess on this point, and now knowing you all over these years, it's true. When Trump gets all the info, he invariably makes the right decision. The problem is they know to keep him away from all the info, cloistered up in his little tower like Rapunzel.
Well, and only giving him partial information. For example, this issue of terrorism and Abbas, who came to see him last week. The president put the wood to him on his continuing subsidization of terrorism. He cannot have a good relationship with this country. But I know for a fact that a memo outlining Abbas's support for Hamas and Hezbollah and so on was kept from the president until he learned about it and demanded it. So he is not being served well by his staff. Donald Trump is essentially an army of one surrounded by mostly hostiles. The only people that I can see in the White House staff who are loyal to the president are Keith Schiller, who is his longtime bodyguard and now in White House operations, and Hope Hicks, who was the press secretary during the campaign. Those are the only true Trump loyalists I can find. Alex, I have known Donald Trump for 40 years. I look at the White House staff list, and I don't recognize any names, virtually none.
And that's because the plan was keep all the Obama people in, first tier put in Republican establishment, who then bring people so bad Trump refuses them, but they don't care because that keeps all the Obama people in.
It's exactly right. So you have this stalemate because Reince Priebus, the president's chief of staff, will not tell the cabinet members, half of whom are not Trump supporters anyway, that these are the people you're going to hire. Here's the list. This is who you're hiring. These are the people that we have vetted. These are the people we've determined are loyal to the president. So the cabinet officers think their job is to go fill these jobs. They go find people, most of them establishment types, not for Trump. They send them to the White House Personnel Office. They get stopped there. Stalemate. Meanwhile, the Obama appointees sit there and they continue to leak.
And beaver away.
And beaver away at undoing everything we want to do. We can't get control of the government this way. And at the meantime, we have probably the greatest danger, which is the slow strangulation of the Trump message by Google, and Facebook, and Twitter to try to take...
Let's talk about that when we come back, but I'm going to be honest. I'm really concerned because this is all great for radio, but not great for my kids. Trump, clearly you can see it. You can also get it from the intel. He's getting more and more pissed. He means well. He can't believe there's so many traitors. He can't believe no one will do what he says. He can't believe that people are so out to get America. And then even his base is just wanting instant gratification. So I could see some scenarios where the enemy wins. Let's roll through those when we come back.
On the run.
Yeah, well, I don't want to follow Lucifer. That's the loser. I want to follow Christ. Problem is, a lot of people act like they're trying to fight for the people. They're not. You can tell the whole world system's coming against InfoWars because they know we're exposing the truth. And Donald Trump is under attack because he wants prosperity and empowerment and Americana worldwide, not through force, but through our greater ideas and our Judeo-Christian background. My guest is Roger Stone in studio co-hosting. I intend to open the phones up at the end of the hour, right to the next hour with Mike Cernovich for your questions, or Roger Stone, Mike Cernovich, and of course myself. I don't normally say, hey, we have a rule today, but I think it'll be interesting if we say we're taking questions. I do that maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but we're going to take questions for Roger Stone, just like Washington Journal does, questions for Mike Cernovich, and questions for myself. In fact, here's the number, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231 is the toll-free number, 800-259-9231. Oh, we can go to a lot of calls once we go to them. Briefly, I noticed that Donald Trump shirts, we were selling about 500 a day until about his 70th day in office. He started going a little bit sideways and went down to maybe 30, 40, 50 a day. I noticed since he fired Comey, this is a great bellwether, we're selling like 150 a day. So I'm not doing these at cost to unload them, even though these are limited edition shirts. I am selling these shirts, these 3 shirts, at cost, $4.95. In fact, if it's an XXL or bigger, we actually lose money. They cost us like $6, $7, depending on the size of the shirt. There's more fabric. Keeping America Great Again, Infowars.com's on the back. On the front, navy blue, beautiful right arm, Infowars.com. Trump is my president, America first since 1776. This is about meeting like-minded people. It's about triggering anti-free speech folks that are out there. It's about taking action. So we've got Trump is my president, new navy blue style. We've got Trump, Pence, Keeping America Great Again with Infowars.com on the back as well. America first since 1776 on the back. We have another that says Trump is my president, 45th president of the United States, America first since 1776. And then on the back, it has another message, Keeping America Great, Infowars.com. So if you want to stand up against these bullies that get triggered and freak out every time they see this, or you want to put it on a scarecrow in your front yard and, you know, videotape libtards attacking it, whatever the case is, or want to give it to your mom or your dad or your son, your daughter, it's $4.95. And quite frankly, you add that together, because the smaller shirts cost $4.95, the bigger ones cost $5.95, $6.95. It goes up. XXXXL is like $7 or something. I don't care. This is a loss leader. 5.0 review on all these shirts. We also have the limited edition Make America Great Again poster, color poster, put out by a top artist. Only 1,000 of those were printed, and they will probably sell out by tomorrow, and then we will never put another out. It is, again, limited time special on that, and when it's gone, it is gone for eternity. We also have some big specials, 25% off of the entire family of Alexa Pure water filtration systems. If you're not filtering your water with a gravity-fed system, I think you're personally absolutely crazy. And quite frankly, they ended up making too many water filters for this quarter. They already have such small margins because they're competitive at Alexa Pure. And it is one of the best gravity-fed filters out there, stainless steel, you name it. But normally they'll sell one of their 6 or 7 units at a lower price. This is everything 25% off. It's not like some of the big companies that raise the price one week and then lower it the next. No, people, you can go look. When you're getting gravity-fed water filtration systems for $59 for the smallest units and $140 for, $180 for the biggest units, you just cannot beat it at $147 for one of their larger units. So InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com. And that's how free market works. You know, they came to us and said, well, yeah, we've got too many of these for the quarter. And, you know, the folks that own the company really want to offload these. So we're ready to give them to you at basically a loss for them. It's not quite a loss, but it's almost a loss. So if you've never gotten a gravity-fed filter, personally, I don't know why. There's so much stuff in the well water, in the tap water, you name it. This cuts everything out but the good minerals you need. It reduces everything to like 99999 or completely takes it out. All the studies are there. We've got 4 different companies we carry. They're all apples and oranges. Some of them are better at this and better at that, but it reduces it all to non-detectable levels or completely takes it out. We've got a lot of new systems as well, some new 3-stage systems that are so new. They haven't been reviewed yet, but that doesn't mean they're not highly reviewed out there. And this is a political movement, and it takes money to win wars. And so we've got products you need at very affordable prices at InfoWarsStore.com, so please check that out today. We have the Pro Pure Scout, again, for $99. That is just insane. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. All right.
Alex, these T-shirts are going to end up in the Smithsonian. I got to tell you, the president's commented on this to me twice. When he sees patriots, like the big rally in Harrisburg a couple weeks ago, people wearing the Hillary for Prison 2016 and 2017 T-shirts, the Trump is my president shirts, the red ones, it energizes him. You're a one-man walking billboard with these on, standing up for freedom and helping the fight. So I bought a bunch of them, gave them away to family and friends. It's a great gift, and frankly, it helps push the revolution. So I recommend it.
Well, thank you for the support. And you know we're trying to expand here to go to like 18 hours a day live, TV, radio. It's really going to be the new Fox News, but the libertarian, true Americana Fox News. And it's kind of metaphysical. As Fox News really begins to die, to be taken over, to be put out to pasture by the globalist. I know you have the inside baseball on that. I don't know if you can get into it. You know, new libertarianism is rising to replace that vacuum. So folks' support now is more important than ever.
Well, you're exactly right. Fox is imploding, and it is only a matter of time for your favorites, whether it's Sean Hannity or Judge Jeanine Pirro or Judge Andrew Napolitano, the real patriots on Fox. It's only a matter of time before they are squeezed out, and Fox goes the way of the Sky Channel. This is what the Murdoch sons have in mind, and now, for the first time, they're prepared to sacrifice profitability for political expedience.
We're talking $1 billion a year, and can you, you have the inside baseball.
I mean, now look, Roger Ailes, who is a great man and who is innocent of these bogus charges of sexual harassment against him, which I think are completely propped up to get him out of there before the election because they knew that he opposed.
It was an admitted coup. I mean, that's been the liberal news. And I don't like Bill O'Reilly, but he settled all that stuff. This was all just go after sponsors, an organized deal. If they can take him out, they can take us all out.
Well, and what bothers me in this particular case is that Megyn Kelly testified in this matter, and her testimony was benign when it comes to Roger Ailes. And then after the Murdochs gave her an $11 million book deal, well, then her testimony changed. And this is bogus. The point is, Ailes built a $1 billion money machine that was a conservative powerhouse, and now the Murdochs are deconstructing it.
Fox News is about $1.5 billion a year.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's a tragedy, really, because what Ailes built was very great, but those listeners, those viewers, they're moving to InfoWars.
Well, I mean, look, here's the bottom line. They have to kill anything, even if it's libertarianoid or Christianoid, even if it's kind of a facsimile and a system Murdoch had to try to control the conservative movement. The Republican establishment doesn't control it. The Tea Party, the Libertarian insurrection, the Ron Paul insurrection, the Roger Stone insurrection, the Matt Drudge insurrection, the Alex Jones insurrection. It's taken over the Republican Party to a great extent. The Freedom Caucus is taking over. And so now there's no point when News Corp is making $50 million a year on its other properties. So what if the conservative thing's making them $1 billion plus? They have to kill it to try to bring something out of vogue. Well, good luck. You're only chopping your nose off to spite your face. I don't sit there and celebrate the fall of Fox News as if I'm going to get bigger by its fall. I was there the entire time as a true purist, wanting to hit the barbed wire, wanting to be demonized, wanting to be attacked, to make it safer for other people to pick up my truth-based talking points to restore the republic. And so I've done my job. I've had bigger success than I ever thought I would have, but I'd studied history, and when other bomb throwers like Patrick Henry and Sam Adams had gone through. And so they're not trying to openly kill me every day like they were those guys. They're just killing my name and trying to destroy my family. And that's bad enough. But in the final equation, we're having devastating victories. And if the audience just realizes you're part of this, and I don't just say that as a pat on the head, you are the heart of it, yeah, we're destroying the globalists. We're wrecking them. They're in total collapse. They're starting to strike back, though. So we don't want to have a Pyrrhic victory where we defeat them, but where our greatest leaders are then destroyed in the process. If you breathe life into us like God took dust up from the earth and blasted it out of his nostrils, we are invincible when you pray for us, when you spread our articles and videos, and when you financially buy products and we make it easy because we bring you the very best. So it's a win-win. This is true Texas hospitality taken globally right now.
You know, talking to Fox, one of the most interesting things here, Alex, is the way Tucker Carlson has emerged as a star. Tucker Carlson, a libertarian. Tucker Carlson.
We had dinner with him.
We had dinner with him in Cleveland. He is a big fan of InfoWars. So what happens to that show, which is knocking him dead on ratings, remains to be seen, because he's a clear thinker. He has been very pro-Trump.
I don't think there's anybody as slick on their feet as he is live.
No, and he dissembles the left when he has them as guests. It's really extraordinary.
He butchers them like the movie Spartacus, when he just cuts up the 4 guys in like 5 seconds.
Yes, it's very much like that. And by the way, he's great in the Netflix documentary Get Me Roger Stone. He's very, very good.
We're going to talk about that some in the next hour, and we're also going to take calls. Let me raise this for you, Roger, since you bring up Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly calls last week, and then I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to her next week. No, not that I was a big fish or anything. I'm just like, I'm sure she's going to the weekend. And Nico calls me on Saturday morning. He goes, no, she wants to talk today, anytime you want. So I call her. She doesn't answer. She calls back 10 minutes later. I'm driving in the car. And I said, let me get to the office so we can have a nice discussion. We had like a 40-minute discussion total. And again, it's Megyn Kelly. I watched her on TV, you know, girl next door, lawyer next door, real smart. And on the phone, she's really impressive. But she said twice, this is off record, right? So I'm not going to get into the on record. But just let me tell you, I'm not stupid, okay? So when a good-looking girl's sitting there telling you, you know, that's like, I mean, I'm kind of scared of her now. Because let me tell you, she's a really smart lady, a good-looking lady. And she's sitting there going, you're number one on my list. Alex, I'm kind of obsessed with you. Oh, I'm sorry, this is off record. You know, Alex, I got to have this interview, Alex. And, you know, we're going to do this interview, Alex. And it's going to happen. And it's going to be good. And you're going to like it. And, you know, I pledge to you it's going to be real. And I'm going to let you talk. It's hitting a hit piece, Alex. And I'm going to stop right there because the rest is off record. But I was just like, even though I knew I was being sold by the greatest used car salesman on earth, I thought P.T. Barnum had been reincarnated right in front of me.
Well, look,
I wanted just the experience of her coming to Austin. And the rest of the stuff she said to me, I mean, the Twilight Zone I've entered, man, is the next level. What the hell is she like behind the scenes? This was crazy.
Look, she was very, very nice to me. Even when she was at war with Donald Trump, she did afford me an opportunity to go on her program numerous times to defend Donald Trump. So there was some balance. And then suddenly, I was frozen, and she then is out repeating the talking points about the DNA test of Danny Williams, Bill's abandoned illegitimate son, proving that that was untrue in 1988.
Which, by the way, the bots show probably won the election.
That's a lie. So, and she's been incommunicado since then. So you may be on her list today, Alex, but who knows if you'll be on her list tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it's not that big a deal because we get invited to all these big shows. My big thing is, it's just so Twilight Zone. She's very charming.
Oh, yes, she's very charming. She's very intelligent. She's very beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, on the phone with her.
She's very good on TV.
I couldn't say no to her. That's the whole point, even though I knew that it's like I'm not an idiot, you know. And
well, it does smell like a setup to me. Let me just say that, and I'm not the paranoid type. But ABC doing a favorable piece on Alex Jones. Why do I
think it's NBC.
Pardon me, NBC. That's what I meant. Why do I doubt that? I don't know why do I doubt that.
Nightline did a halfway favorable piece. I mean, it was negative, but it wasn't like really nasty-spirited. And the host of Nightline, whatever his name is, he's an ABC Nightly News guy. He's a pretty good guy. He should be on the 700 Club before that. What's his name? He actually, we went to dinner and stuff, and it wasn't even off record. He was like, pretty, he goes, don't worry, you know, they want me to tear the living hell out of you, but I know a lot of this stuff's true, and I'm a patriot, I'm a Christian, Alex, and I got a family, and we went to like some steakhouse.
God, be careful, you get the guy fired.
Yeah, I don't want to get him fired, actually. He didn't say it was off the record. By the way, I didn't tell anybody the real off the record stuff with Megyn Kelly. Because I said, well, I mean, I got to tell folks you've called me up and you want me to do this. Oh, obviously they've told her mount his head on the wall.
Yes.
But she also knows, you attack Alex Jones, it'll be everywhere. I mean, you know, if she gets the Alex Jones interview, and that's not a power trip, but how have we gotten to where they've been ignoring me forever, and now they want it, it's like it's the coveted interview because I won't do the interviews anymore. Because I can't be in a room alone with these journalists. They will make stuff up.
Ironically, her attacks on Donald Trump, while they may have made her and gave her great financial opportunity to jump to one of the national...
It hurt her. It destroyed her.
It destroyed Fox. No, it destroyed Fox.
That's right.
Fox was shocked when they found out that their listeners were outraged at her treatment.
Their key demographics went down by 40+%.
And I can tell you this right now. Their overall listenership, their overall viewership is down 30%. 30%, that's almost a third.
And certain people that created Fox can't believe they're controlled demoing it.
They're destroying what was one of the...
Can't we just, why doesn't...
yeah.
We can't tell people.
No. But look, they're destroying their brand, and it's a tragedy.
They're committing Harry Carey seppuku.
Yes, because it is one of the great success stories in modern communications, what Roger Ailes built, and they're deconstructing it because it's politically incorrect. And because, let's face it, the Murdoch boys want to be well-liked and well-treated when they go to the Upper West Side New York cocktail party.
By the way, it was Dan Harris from Nightline.
That's right.
And Dan Harris was like...
Good guy.
He was a good guy.
He is a good guy.
Oh, you know him?
I know of him, and he has an excellent reputation for fairness.
He was. Yeah.
There's a few people in the national media.
So let me ask you, well, yeah, I don't want to get him in trouble like you said behind the scenes, but a lot of these guys know what's going on. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
What about Lester Holt?
I wouldn't do an interview with Lester Holt. Yeah, why would you give an interview to Lester Holt? There have to be interviewers with a greater reputation for fairness.
What about Charlie Rose?
I would do Charlie Rose. I've done Charlie Rose. I did him recently, and I did him at the convention. I did The View, and frankly, I have to say, I don't like Joyce Behar's politics, but I like her. She's wonderful. We just don't agree on anything, but I like her.
Yeah, Joy Behar, I did her CNN show.
Yeah.
Not just The View, and she was...
I've done her CNN show. I like her a lot. We just disagree.
She comes off as like one of those really saucy ladies.
She tried to tell me that Al Franken was both brilliant and funny. Sorry you lost me on that one.
All right, we're getting to serious issues and phone calls on the other side. Stay with us. By the way, X2 Survival Shield, the good halogen. Learn about the iodine conspiracy, folks. We have the only deep earth crystal source iodine that's not bound and tied to something. That's why it turns blue on paper with water, not red like bound iodine. Find out why it's so important at InfoWarsStore.com and help fund our operation. X2 is amazing. It is about to sell out. They're doing the big final run of it. And if we don't get another oil company that's drilling for it to find it and sell it to us, we may have to go back to the seaweed-based system. That's still great, but not this baby. This has really financed the info war, and this is kind of bittersweet here. 4,000 plus 5-star reviews at Power Reviews, InfoWarsStore.com, or 888-253-3139. But whatever you do, spread Infowars.com and the articles and videos and our local affiliates, because we're in a war, and we're hurting them bad, but we're under enemy fire as well. Stuart, Donna, Mike, Matt, Lee, everybody. I'm going to your phone calls right now with Roger Stone as he co-hosts with us today. We've kind of had some fun here, and I'm not bragging when I talk about Megyn Kelly really putting it on heavy to get me to, she thinks I'm a Texas hillbilly, and, you know, that a hot woman telling me how much, you know, she wants to interview me and how she's obsessed with me, I'll get me to talk to her. And even though I know it was BS, it still works. So I'm going to do an interview. See, that's a little bit of the difference here. All right, I'm being sarcastic. None of that happened. Megyn Kelly didn't call me. It's all fake news, ladies and gentlemen. But seriously, we're going to go to Lee and Matt and Stuart and everybody else. But I asked you, Roger, should I wimp out and not do the Megyn Kelly interview? Because she's going to come to me.
I actually think you should do it because you can handle her and because you understand the game. And you're very good on it.
Should I put her over my knee?
I don't think she'll let you do that. But I do think you should do the show because anything that allows you to break through to the mainstream.
But if I put her over my knee, would you?
No, I'm not going there. I'm not going there.
No. Put her over my knee.
I already got enough.
Put her over my knee politically, I meant.
I once, unfortunately,
Can we put Betty Page on screen, please? Putting a girl over her knee? Sorry. They're saying stick to the news. I'm sorry. I'm having some fun here.
All right, let's go to
that's my boss in there. No, I've told him. I don't have a producer. I'm the producer, which is kind of out of control. Because sometimes I get off the chain, Roger.
Really? I've never seen that.
You know I'm trolling. Can you imagine the headline? It's Alex Jones asked Roger Stone if he put Megyn Kelly.
Oh, look, David Brock is typing that up right now. Little weirdo. You little weirdo.
I can't help it. I can say anything I want. It's all over the news the next day.
Well,
it is fun.
It would be colorful, I'll say that.
We're going to calls in a minute, but since I said that, we're going to go to Matt when we come back in the next hour. But being serious, you understand, it's what you said. You're not really a villain, but they call you that, so you play into it. Why not? They just don't get it. They don't know we're kicking their ass. I don't really see any way we can lose if Trump stays the course and they don't kill him. What do you think? Well,
I thought long and hard about why Netflix would make a documentary on me that would be fair. I mean, and then I figured it out. You see, they think President Trump will fail, and they make a case, not accurate, but that I elected Trump, therefore I'm the man to blame. They want me to be as hated as Karl Rove. What they don't understand is Donald Trump is going to succeed. He's going to be a transformational president. He can go down with Washington and Lincoln with the greats.
That's right. They don't get it. They're betting against the spirit of America, which no one's defeated.
That's exactly right. So you have another Ronald Reagan, perhaps even potentially greater in Donald Trump.
Oh, I think already.
Because he's independent, because he's gutsy, because he's bold. You can't bully him. You can't buy him. He doesn't owe anybody. And his gut instincts are almost always right.
And that's not hype. That's really happening. That's why they're so terrified.
That's exactly right.
You know a man by his enemies. I promise. Matt, Gary, Stuart, Donna, Mike, and others. Straight ahead, 800-259-9231. Roger Stone in studio as InfoWars goes through the storm. And we will go all the way through. To quote the black hole, in, through, and beyond. I'm glad that my crew is restraining me. Because we can have some fun here. Roger Stone. Roger, they made a documentary about you because you're funny, you're interesting. I mean, I don't even care that you've got all these contacts and stuff. That's like a side issue. I like you.
Well, I appreciate that. Look, the best thing to come out of this is that the mainstream media ban at MSNBC and CNN has been broken. How do you like that, David Brock?
Oh, yeah, you're all over TV now.
So, you know, and I do think it is important to get out there in the mainstream when you have the opportunity because of the way they're, you know, censoring and trying to choke off alternatives.
Isn't that a Stone rule that never turned on television?
Well, let's be specific. Never pass up the opportunity to have sex or be on television. Stone's rules, which I borrowed from Gore Vidal, but it's still true.
That is a Gore Vidal.
It is.
You know, Gore Vidal liked the show.
He has a great quote where he said, "I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist." He knew the federal government doesn't tell us the truth. He knew you had to be skeptical of anything coming out of mainstream.
You know, I think Gore Vidal would have been a Trump supporter. Seriously, the anti-establishment, all of it. He liked to wreck things.
Well, the social parts of that may have been problematic, but it's possible, certainly possible.
But he was that much of a rebel.
He was a rebel, also a great writer.
No, but I mean, Gore Vidal could do any show he wanted. He would seek out coming on my show. And then once there was this theater, I was going to interview him at, and they wouldn't let him do it because there was a union there, and there was a union, and he said, "Screw you, I'll cancel the show." And then he went out back and did the interview out in the alley.
Yeah, he was a very interesting guy, very interesting.
How did Al Gore fall far from the tree though?
Well, and the Kennedys, you know, cut him loose because he was a cousin of Jackie Kennedy by marriage, and he'd run for Congress in the Mid-Hudson Valley in New York as a John Kennedy supporter, but Bobby hated him, and Bobby cut him out, and then he became a fierce critic of the Kennedys after that.
All right, let's take the first phone call. I apologize to Matt for having him hold. Matt, you're on the air from Ohio.
Yes, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, go ahead.
First, I want to say I'm honored to be on air with men of your such caliber.
Well, your caliber, I'm honored to be here with you, my friend. Go ahead.
Yes, and I got a two-part question, all right? Do you think this country has already been taken over and they're still using our institutions and bureaucracies to make it look like we haven't been taken over?
Absolutely, and now there's a beachhead to retake it. Oh, totally. Hell, I read stuff from the 60s where the CIA thought they'd already captured the country. Roger, this is a great question.
Yeah, here's the proof. Bush Clinton, Bush, Obama. Identical. That's not what they told you in the election, of course, but their policies have been identical. It doesn't matter where the deck chairs are. It's the people behind the scenes are the same people calling the shots. And now, suddenly, we have a president who's not a puppet, who won't take orders, who won't do as he's told, because he loves the country, because he's a patriot, because he wants to return us to the greatness that we've experienced. That's why they are so frantic to discredit him.
Yeah, I mean, folks, they want to destroy Trump. They wouldn't be doing all this. This is discrediting them. If they don't defeat him, this is destroying them forever. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was listening to you guys because I want to hear your opinion also.
Well, I mean, look, Hillary was supposed to be the next puppet in this kabuki show. It was all cut and dried. It was done. And by the way, just in case there was a problem, the puppet masters had this all figured out. They had Jeb Bush as the Republican nominee. You'd have Hillary as the Democratic nominee. And the American people would be the loser no matter who won. And then along came a guy to upset this apple cart, Donald J. Trump. And they're frantic about the fact that he is uncontrollable. He doesn't take orders from anybody. He believes that he is only answerable to the American people.
And that's why they're crapping their drawers. Thank you, Matt, for the great question. All right, Donna, Mike, Stuart, Gary, your calls are straight up. On the other side, I'm Alex Jones. This is the Info War. They're doing everything they can to block us on Google, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. So it's an active rebellion to spread the links to our stories and articles and videos at Infowars.com. We'll be back. Why do the globalists, and the Democratic Party particularly, continue to give North Korea nuclear reactors and now nerve gas agent? Here's an article right here today out of Fox News. UN agency helps North Korea with patent application for banned nerve gas chemical. That's a whole nother subject. Now, Mike Cernovich, the evil guy that just has big scoops every couple days, has an amazing track record for all those different sources. And InfoWars has a lot of great sources, too. We broke last week what's going on with Trump being ready for a big purge, and that's all in the news today. And, of course, Stone has a lot of great sources, but a lot of great research as well. But mainstream media attacks us constantly, saying, shut us down, or they use satire or jokes, we talk about as some way to try to bring us down. It's not working. So where do they go? What do they do now? And what's the next shoe to drop? And then we're going to take phone calls from Gary, Dean, Stewart, Donna, Mike, and others here in a minute who have questions for Mike Cernovich, Roger Stone, and myself as we broadcast worldwide. We may go a little bit in the next hour and make this a roundtable discussion with David Knight, but we'll see. Mike Cernovich, thank you so much for coming on with us again.
Always a pleasure, Alex.
You got cut off yesterday because we only had you on for like 20 minutes. There was a lot of other breaking stuff you have. Before we take some of these calls, what's on your radar screen? Then I want to ask you just about the state of the world right now and where you think all this is going.
Yeah, Trump is still playing mind games with Reince Priebus. And, of course, Sean Spicer, which Paul Joseph Watson, you reported, I reported. We had that story last week where we said Trump is pushing Spicer on the way out because he's not aggressive enough, he's not ferocious enough. And then sure enough, that is now all over, the mainstream media.
The exact headline.
Right, exactly. So he's looking to do a big shakeup because Trump is telling people, multiple sources have confirmed with me, he goes, why aren't you guys fighting harder? He used that exact word is, why isn't anybody fighting hard? And he's realizing that his own team, they're leaking news to the media. There was an article today in Politico, I think. I don't know. I'll text Nico the link. But everybody blabbed their mouth to Trump about his news diet, and they called it fake news diet. And then they tried to frame Katie McFarland and claim that she gave Trump a fake news magazine cover from Time magazine. That actually never happened. Katie McFarland is a brilliant woman, amazing strategist. So what is happening now is McMaster planted that little detail into the fake news media to try to let Katie McFarland look bad. Because as you know, which I reported quicker than everybody else, Ricky Waddell, who's a warmonger with oil ties in Venezuela, and he actually wants to bring soldiers into Venezuela to protect his oil investments, his oil friends. Ricky Waddell is replacing Katie McFarland, right? So all these leaks are coming out, and Trump is really frustrated because he wants to know why his team isn't fighting as hard as Roger Stone is, as hard as Alex Jones is. And I think that's a great question maybe I would like to ask Roger is, Why is it that the only people fighting for Trump are people on social media and people like you and Alex?
Well, it's the nature of these establishment Republicans. I mean, once they're inside the fort, you know, that danger was always there. If you wouldn't fight for Trump when he was the nominee, why would you fight for him when he's the president? Not only that, but in all honesty, moderate Republicans never fight. They like cocktail parties. They don't like, you know, they don't like combat.
I was about to say, you bring in a bunch of conformists and your own enemies that just want to have feathered nest and feel like they're part of the establishment.
Yeah, so
instead of trailblazing, we want trailblazers. We want revolutionaries.
But you see, instead of fighting, they want to moderate the president. Instead of selling the product, they want to change the product. Trump is who he is. That's not.
And by the way, I got to give credit to Cernovich. He was the first to say that Trump couldn't stand McMaster out of the gates, that you confirm that later by other sources. And he was the first to say McMaster just hired a new general to be his aide-de-camp without even consulting Congress or the president. It's just all this rogue arrogance where they yes man to the president's face and then do whatever they want. So here's the key. I meant to ask this question.
Oh, and I have a good story too. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I'll
Go
let
ahead.
you finish, but I did have something I wanted to talk about McMaster, but
No, you break that, and then I'm going to bring up this thing about, because Trump listens, and others do, what he should do in the shakeup dealing with the press, because I wanted to raise that last hour, but now that we're all here, we'll do it and then go to call. So go ahead and hit McMaster, the National Security Advisor.
So I talked to Roger Stone on his great podcast, The Stone Cold Truth, that Trump's plan was to get McMaster his 4th star. The Pentagon is actually dragging its feet on that. This is breaking news. They can't stand him in the Army. They don't want him back doing more active duty Army type stuff. And they're stalling the plan to give him his 4th star because, I quote, multiple Pentagon sources said, McMaster is unfit to lead. That is a direct quote. So the question is, if he's unfit to lead in the Army, why is he head of the National Security Council? So that is breaking news. He was supposed to get that 4th star, but the Pentagon, multiple sources in the Pentagon have confirmed to me, said we don't want him back.
Is it because he's compromised, or he always claims that he should be in command, or is dereliction of duty?
Right. So they said, and this is a direct quote, McMaster is unfit to lead. He's unfit to serve. And that really, it says it all. And they're also
did they give a hint of why he's unfit?
Well, he's a warmonger. All he knows is let's drop in tanks and bomb people and blow people up and destroy things. And he doesn't understand 4th generation warfare. He doesn't understand.
Is that why he's always claiming he's an expert in 4th generation warfare and HUMET and capturing hearts and minds?
Yeah, he is not. That's the thing, and he dismisses it. He's actually said, we don't have time for that 4th generation warfare nonsense, even though, as you know, the information war is about, hey, there's 1.5 billion Muslims in the world. That is the reality. We have to find a way to make them more like Christians, to make them more civilized.
Yeah, they've got to reform. They've got to have a Martin Luther instead of us reforming and putting a jibs on. Exactly. We're not changing. So either stay in your desert hellhole or stop killing us. Go ahead.
Right, and the flip side of that is we need to quit blowing up their homes too, because that is only going to ferment more violence.
Well, that's the globalist plan, is to stir them up.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's what McMaster is doing, is he wants to go in, blow people up, destroy their lives, then you create a refugee crisis, then you say we have to let them in. Which the UN uses,
which is a UN plan.
Right, exactly. Then we have to let them in, and they say, oh, how can we not let them in? These people are suffering. Well, if we had never blown up their countries like McMaster wants to do, so we need to focus more on propaganda, psyops, telling these people, making them more moderate.
Psyops promoting real free market and good stuff. Soft power. Psyops that are truthful, the ones that work.
Yeah, let's just go in there and give them Coca-Cola. I mean, the point is that they need to understand that we have a better mousetrap, that their lives would be better if they opened the door to a relationship. For the first time, we have an enemy, unlike any we've ever faced, who are prepared to kill themselves. But more importantly, will kill us if we don't see things their way. That's outrageous. How does a Council on Foreign Relations member like McMaster get this job to begin with? There's the real.
Well, let's expand. It's worse than that. It's worse than that.
Brilliant.
They've decided.
We should bring them Coca-Cola. We should, instead of bombing them, we should drop the best of American capitalism to them. Refrigeration.
iPads.
Right? Give them refrigerators. That's going to do way more than drop bombs on them. Drop refrigerators on there. Then they realize, oh, hey, this is actually pretty good. Why don't we build our homes up?
Let's go further. Let's go further. Let me stop. Because the globalists in their own writings admit they want to put the most radical Muslims in to destabilize things, then use them as a force to bring down the West and bring in a police state in a response to them. So it's an anti-civilization killing system. That's what globalism is. It's not like the elites are dumb bringing in incompatible radical Muslims. The Arab Spring by Google and Facebook and Twitter and the elites and the liberals was their Arab Spring that Al Gore said he wanted here. They're going to use the Muslims as their shock force. That's the issue.
But really the question is, does McMaster understand that Donald Trump was elected president as a non-interventionist? Does anybody around him understand what he ran on? McMaster and Mattis are in there advocating 150,000 troops be put in right after the surgical strike. That would have been the functional end of Trumpism as we know it. I don't think these people know what he ran on.
I totally agree. I want to take calls. I don't want to lose the forest for the trees. But at the bottom of the hour, we're going to get into what should Trump do in his shakeup with the press. Instead of saying get rid of press conferences, just have your own press announcements and don't even have press there. Instead of having a written statement, have it a person talks, you have a presentation, you have videos like InfoWars would do. Imagine the president did this. The president does fireside chats twice a week, so he doesn't get overwhelmed. They do press conferences every 2 weeks, but then they have informationals, not just with, you could still keep people like Spicer on, but you'd also then bring in Huckabee or you bring in Guilfoyle, and then you'd have people whenever they're ready with a key point on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on whatever, and with briefings to hit them where we're hitting them. They've got to tune into us. We totally take it away. You don't just ignore them or say, oh, you're so fake, you're so adversarial, we're not going to have these meetings now with you. You just have meetings 24 hours a day and annihilate them. I guarantee you within 7 days, if I had that pulpit, it would be devastation for the enemy. I would lay out all their lies. I would annihilate their frauds. I'd say who owned them. I would go over all the facts. I would list what the president did and how they're trying to stop that message. It would be victory.
Well, because it needs to be proactive. That's the whole problem with their communications shop. They're so hung up taking in the incoming attacks on Trump and trying to pair.
They've got to get on the offense instead of the defense.
Exactly right.
Cernovich, can we do this network? Just one more. I'm not going to do any more for the whole week, I promise. We'll skip this break. We'll have more time to take calls. But Cernovich, you were trying to jump in there. We'll do it at the bottom of the hour, I promise. It's all organized. I want to take some calls right now. But I'm telling you, it's not like we're just saying this. Little ragtag operations, we're devastating them. The president already sees half his supporters at rallies or InfoWars. If he already knows what you're doing and what Roger's doing. If he simply gets out of defense and goes on offense, it's over.
Well, I actually told my wife's parents they watch Get Me Roger Stone because they always go, what is it that Cernovich does? Why do I see him on my Facebook feed all the time? Why does everybody who knows me at the bank say, hey, how's Michael doing? What's Michael doing? So they actually watched Get Me Roger Stone because we were all there together, but we were like in a parallel world at the time. We hadn't united and joined forces where we were at the RNC covering the course of protesters were fake. You were there at the megaphone. Black Lives Matter was attacking you. Think about what we do. 3 men, and of course, with all the people listening in and helping, we don't have $1 billion. Could you imagine if we had $1 billion budget, even $100 million budget, the kind of devastation that we would have?
Yeah, no, we're living off the land, and Google has got billions of dollars with which to crush.
And the audience needs to know the empire is striking back. We blew up the Death Star. We're now under attack. If you simply support us now more than ever and take action yourself, we're going to win.
It's the best reason to go to the InfoWars store.com that I can think of.
And spread stonecoldtruth.com and the websites of Cernovich and the Twitter. It's a war. It's fun. I don't want to lose. We're promoting freedom Americana. It's not like we're promoting North Korea. The Democrats are promoting North Korea. The Republican establishment, they're a bunch of yes men and cowards that want to socially climb an organization. We want to overturn the fake globalist paradigm that's a face sucker on America. We don't want to ascend into the face sucker's belly and be some turd floating around in its belly. We want to kill the face sucker. We want to remove it. We want to restore the republic. We want to put up Washington monuments 20 times bigger that are space elevators hailing our victory over the globalists. We want victory.
McMaster had even said, and I broke that story, that he's trying to remake the NSC to Democrats. So we called it Make the NSC Democrat again. He had said we need to, I quote, professionalize the National Security Council, and that will mean bringing in more Democrats and liberals. So what they're doing is they're pulling the security clearances of pro-Trump people, and they're bringing in more Democrats, bringing in...
Yeah, they're circling the wagons, telling Trump, we'll compromise, we'll let you make America great, and we'll let you cut taxes, when all they're doing is preparing his destruction like a bunch of senators stabbing Caesar to death in the Senate. Right now, let's go to phone calls. Donna, in the great state of Pennsylvania, one of the deciding states in the restoration of the Republic. You're on the air, Donna. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Alex, for taking my call, and Mike Cernovich and Roger Stone. Thank you so much.
Thank
I'm
you.
a People for Trump group person, grassroots in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Great.
And I actually have been sick. I was in the hospital last week with shingles because I'm so upset about what they're doing to Mr. President right now. I met you, Alex, in the inauguration day, and I'm so upset about some of the things that are on Facebook, like this March for America dude that's his name is Scott Benzak. He's saying all this horrible stuff like that. There's like indictments ready to go out, and
Well, there's a lot of fake news out there, so don't lose heart.
Oh, yeah, the Democrats are the kings of all their fake news crap, and it's never been done. No one's fought an FBI director. It's all pure bull. So, Donna, don't get upset about that. Just keep moving forward. Don't let this get you upset and put you in the hospital, because this is the animating contest of liberty. We've come so far from 20 years ago when nobody knew the Federal Reserve was private. Almost everybody knows it. So, Donna, thank you so much. Did you have a question for Roger Cernovich?
I'm all I'm saying is just everybody. I just want to say, everybody out there listening, get your vitamin mineral fusion. I'm telling you, my fiance and I love it. And just please support Alex Jones and this fight.
Nice.
And,
Well, God bless you, ma'am. Thank you. And maybe you don't buy the products, the fun is spread the links. That's most important. Let's go ahead and talk to, we got Gary wants to talk, Dean, Stewart, who's been holding the longest? We
They're
got
trying
Mike.
to make it sad, though, Alex. So can I say something? This is, when I heard her voice, it moved my heart. This is spiritual warfare that we're waging against people.
And you can't let them get you down, sweetheart.
Right.
Even though they're evil and horrible, we're starting to win. So be positive.
Right. That's what they want to do is what a lot of people don't understand is
take your hope.
With the occult magic that they believe in, it isn't enough that they win and they get more money and they get more slaves and they can buy more children from Haiti. That isn't enough. They want to destroy your spirit because they're death eaters. They are a death cult. So that is why you have to take care of yourself, keep your spirit high, pray.
That's it. They're like
meditate.
sin eaters, but they just live off of it.
Right, so they want you if they get you down, and that's why they're trying to drive InfoWars into bankruptcy and trying to ruin Alex's. It isn't enough that they have everything. They want to see people grovel and destitute.
That's why they want North Korea or Venezuela. They want you poor. That's their religion. While they claim they love you all day and you grovel to them, they gravitate to the most poorest populations they can get to control. Great points. Okay.
This is the outrageousness of the story of the Bushes and the Clintons. While their policies made America weaker and made the people poorer, they and their cronies have made hundreds of millions of dollars. These are crony capitalists. These are thieves, is what they
are. We're going to take a ton of calls. There's a caller I was about to go to just hung up. We're going to go to Stuart. We're going to go to Mike. We're going to go to everybody right now. Stuart in Canada, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hello. I do hope I'm coming through clearly because it's such an honor to be on this.
It's an honor to talk to you, brother. Go ahead.
Well, great. I just got to say how much I love the whole InfoWars team. Humanity has hope because of you. And also every InfoWarrior out there listening. And to Donald Trump, now's the time to double down. The enemy is doubling down. We got to double down. And that goes to every InfoWarrior out there. You have to double down. And then we're going to absolutely crush the globalists. I'm on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook, but I can see it. The bellwether, the atmosphere, we're winning. And that lady that was calling in, don't be discouraged at all. You've got so many people backing you up all over this planet. I'm in Canada here, and we're not going to let them.
Exactly. Look at the elites everywhere panicking. They can feel the spirit of awakening rising.
I wanted to mention your first caller. He called in and he had said do you think the globalists are trying to make it look like they're not actually taking us over? And it kind of dovetailed with what I originally called in. I might be, I hope I'm not semantical in saying this, but I've never liked to use the term the New World Order just because Bush Sr. used that. And I always wonder, why would he go on national television and say the New World Order? You know, when it's like, when I'm thinking, doesn't this go back to the Roman Empire? And what did happen to the Roman Empire anyways? And so I look at this as, it's not the New World Order, it's the Old World Order. And this is the old games that they've always played. And yes, they did hijack America to another colony.
Exactly. The true Renaissance is the real New World Order of human empowerment, so they create a false New World Order. Sorry.
But the reason that George H.W. Bush popped out and said that is he's always had this propensity to read the stage directions. He's not Ronald Reagan. He was never very talented. So you might remember when he went to New Hampshire and a sour economy, one of his handlers said, well, the main reason we're going up there, Mr. President, is to tell people that you care. He gets on stage and he says, message, I care. And he sits down. The guy had no talent. He had a tin ear. Still does. And he blurted it right out. The New World Order. There it is.
Well, Stuart's an exciting caller, and come back with a comment on that, Stuart. But Mike Cernovich, this is what you were just hitting on. We're not just cheerleading here. The globalists are panicking. The paradigm is shifting. Incredibly positive things are happening. They're hitting us with everything they've got to tell us we're losing because it's the opposite.
Exactly. It's a psyop they're running on the people. That's why they closed comments. That's why they want to ban InfoWars from YouTube and Google and Facebook and everywhere else, because people want to feel connected and they want you to feel isolated and alone. So you got to realize it was all a psyop. I mean, I was with Alex in Austin. Everywhere we went, people were like, oh, hey, Alex, hey, Cernovich. You know, at the RNC, everybody's like, hey, Roger. We're recognized, and again, that isn't to brag. I don't care about fame. None of us
It's
care
to let folks know it's a bellwether of the success that we're not alone.
Exactly. I go to the bank, actually, and one of the bank managers goes, Cernovich, man, how are you? I read your stuff all the time. I was at a Mother's Day thing, and one of the wives of a cousin, I can't remember who she was, but she was a relative and in-law, and she goes, oh, yeah, my clients are a big fan of yours, and they're the sheriffs, right? So the police are on our side. So don't be dismayed. Don't let them...
Sure, the police aren't perfect. They're just like people everywhere, and they get given globalist orders that are wrong. But on average, I'm just saying this is true. The cops know what's going on. They research stuff. They know how the media lies, and they're aware there's an attempt to absolutely shut this country down. Well, why shouldn't they be awake? They know George Soros that hates us is literally funding groups that say kill the cops randomly. Well, so, I mean, you know, that's a no-brainer. The cops better be awake. They better be awake.
They listen to this while they're patrolling. They listen to this live streams and Periscope and everything while they're doing their patrol.
Sure, but let's just be honest. We better be awake. The cops better be awake. What does that say about the public that isn't? That's scary. I mean, you better be awake now, right, Mike? Stay there, Stuart. We're going to finish up with you. Then Mike. Then Dean, then Gary's, then Zach. We're going bam, bam, bam. Your questions, your comments, straight ahead with Mike Cernovich and Alex Jones. We're going to get more on the media, too. What does Trump need to do?
The empire's on the run.
In your hearts are inscribed the values of service, sacrifice, and devotion. Now you must go forth into the world and turn your hopes and dreams into action. America has always been the land of dreams because America is a nation of true believers. When the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth, they prayed. When the founders wrote the Declaration of Independence, they invoked our Creator 4 times. Because in America, we don't worship government, we worship God. That is why our elected officials put their hands on the Bible and say, "So help me God," as they take the oath of office. It is why our currency proudly declares, "In God we trust." And it's why we proudly proclaim that we are one nation under God every time we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, Mike Cernovich is our guest. I want to get to a lot of calls now. We're going to go to Stuart and have him finish up in this whole board of calls. Then we're going to spend some time on what does Trump need to do. I know with the power that he has, his star qualities, and if he just had a crew of 6, 7 people that could be on call in different 4 or 5 hour quadrants throughout the day to independently go out and just expose lies, do press conferences, do live feeds, it would all have millions of viewers per transmission. Would put the enemy back on their heels. We'll talk about that and what Roger Stone thinks, what Mike Cernovich thinks, what you think should be done here in a few minutes. But Stuart, in Canada, you know, callers come and say, oh, thank you, you're so great. Listen, you're great. There wouldn't be a movement if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't see nationalism rising all over the world if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't see hope if it wasn't for you. So we're all peers here in the great animating contest for liberty. But go ahead and finish your point on the whole New World Order.
Yeah, but Alex, I wouldn't be psychologically so healthy. There was so much stress before I stumbled upon your media platform on my shoulders because I thought I was the only one that understood what was going on. I couldn't talk about it.
You just hit the key. They make us all feel alone. And then once you learn that there's other people that believe this, it takes a lot of the stress off. That is absolutely critical.
The whole world came off my shoulders. Suddenly, I wasn't the only one. I wasn't alone in the dark. And I had to do more and more and more research to realize that you're the real deal. And I got my fridge is full of your your products, and I take them daily. And I'm so grateful. One day I'm going to give you an awesome testimonial, but it's just not the right time.
Well, brother, you're the reason we're on air, and God bless you. I appreciate you. But the most important thing is just spread the articles, the videos, start your own YouTube, your own Facebook. Really, I mean, it's critical that we absolutely take the culture over. We're already intellectually the majority. We just all have to get more active. Call C-SPAN, retweet a link. I mean, Roger Cernovich, this gets into how do we take things back in the media. That kind of opens the door to discuss this. What do you think everybody can do just as a basic example of how we up our game as the globalist up theirs?
You know, Alex, I think in a way.
I just went downstairs and took Brain Force. So I'll let you, I'll let you guys talk. I can wait for it to kick in.
Thank you. But seriously, I mean, what do we all do?
Look, I think that history has repeated itself here. Until Richard Viguerie came along and invented essentially direct mail advertising in a political form in the 70s, conservatives and liberty-minded folks couldn't contact each other. We didn't have media outlets. The New York Times, CBS, they were all against us. Now the internet has really fueled the revolution.
So they had air superiority. They're in trouble.
Right. And now that's why they're trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. That's why they want to censor us. They realize there's a revolution afoot, and good God, the people have found out what's happening, and that's a real problem.
So you think about the 60s and 70s when direct mail even started, and everything was liberal, communist garbage, because the big corporations wanted that as a failed system for America to control us. Now they're so far behind the 8 ball, we should be way more positive if you look at the scheme of time, but now they get how much trouble they're in. They want total authoritarianism now. They want to put it all back in the tube now. They can't.
Well, the idea of liberals, classic liberals, pushing censorship is nonsense. There's nothing liberal about being for censorship, but they can't argue with our ideas. They can't argue the facts of the merits, so they have to silence us. It's all they can do.
That's right. Mike, you're chomping at the bit. Go ahead.
Well, you know, that is why I offered to donate $100,000 to an A-rated charity of Keith Olbermann, who talks a big game, to debate Alex Jones, neutral moderator. We could fill a stadium, sell tickets.
By the way, I didn't know you did that. We could raise millions. I will debate anybody. I will debate Charlie Rose. I will debate Keith Olbermann. Any of them without teleprompters. That's a great idea. I didn't know you'd done that.
Although Olbermann would have to take off his tinfoil hat, because these conspiracy theorists like him, they really bother me. Left-wing conspiracy theorist.
Well, that's why they're afraid to debate us. Louise Minch actually challenged me to a debate, and I accepted. She backed down. Sam Harris.
Yeah, why do they always back out? Why can't they actually debate live?
Because they know that if they'll lose.
I mean, you can't shut us up. We don't. We want live. Why are they all so scared? Who are they?
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead, Cernovich. I apologize. Why is the average liberal scared to death of live or not controlling things or not having a teleprompter?
P.S. Where is my invitation to testify for the House and Senate Intelligence Committees?
I want to go. I want to. Yes, please.
We'll go together. I mean, they've accused
No
you,
subpoena needed.
they've accused you of being a Russian spy.
They actually said, under Russian control.
So what? It's the American way. You should have a chance to respond.
Alex, did I email you? A friend of mine in the CIA actually showed me a flyer where, remember The Economist wrote that article claiming that you and I were inadvertent Russian stooges? That article is being used in training materials now. So we're actually, this isn't like, it's literally true. This isn't hyperbole.
Yeah, no, you said you were going to send it. I may have missed it. Will you send it to Nico? We'll put it on screen.
Well, I don't have it. I don't have it on my phone. But I'll get it to Nico. Yeah, I thought I texted you it. But so that article in The Economist calling us inadvertent Russian stooges is being used by the CIA in their training materials now. So we're literally being targeted by the CIA in the training materials, and this can be confirmed by any of your sources in the CIA if you ask.
Well, they had the congressional hearing where the CIA said, in the Armed Services Committee, they said, we are investigating Alex Jones, who is being directed by the GRU and the KGB. The biggest load of horse manure, but no proof. Just, he just is a Russian agent. The article he's talking about was in The Economist, which is put out by the Rothschilds.
Cernovich, Alex Jones,
Useful idiots.
in The Economist, yeah.
So I interrupted you, though. Go back before we go to these calls. You were getting into, Mike, just how big this awakening is. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of people, there's the article. So we're being targeted now by the CIA. They know now they won't debate us live because they know that we speak the truth. Right? Because I'll go live with anybody one-on-one. Come on, bring it. Louise Mensch tried to debate me. I said I'll accept it. She now is hiding. Sam Harris challenged me to a debate. I accepted it. He ran away, and then he went on the Joe Rogan podcast and went on a tirade about me for an hour.
And said, I saw it. He said, I can't believe people listen to him, and he's so fake. I mean, what unbelievable.
Right, so he won't debate. I said, Sam Harris, debate. If I'm such a fake, put it in a stadium.
And by the way, he didn't list, I watched it, he didn't list anything you said that was fake. Every day we're breaking big national news. What more do they? That's the joke, though. We're trusted by the patriots and agencies and the White House. So we're just going to get more and more. So what are they going to do, Roger, as we just get validated?
Yeah, look, I've had to deal with this preening, whining, phony Adam Schiff, the congressman from California. This guy's a pussy. He's the kind of guy who likes to punch and run. I mean, let's have it out. You've called me a traitor. You've called me a Russian agent. You did it on national TV.
Even though you were well known for rounding up Russian agents in Washington.
I mean, look, it's an outrageous. But this guy thinks he's going to the U.S. Senate. Guess again, pal.
I just can't believe that they literally think when the Democrats are famous for being in bed with the Russians.
They're the ones who are soft on communism, not us.
Well, now we're not big enemies with Russia because they're getting more free markets. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
McCarthy was a hero, actually. Hollywood was infiltrated by communists and communist spies, and McCarthy has been lied about, and history has lied about.
Isn't it funny that Democrats' religion is hating Christianity and whining about the red list and all the rest of it, and then meanwhile they're doing stuff 1,000 times worse now?
Their blacklist is much larger than the blacklist of the 30s or the 50s. Censorship is a tactic of scoundrels. Stalin, Hitler, those are the only people who want to silence them. Let's have a debate. See, I'm against, I think every left-winger should have full access.
How do they think with America's tradition that they're going to kill free speech? They may have brainwashed zombies at colleges that howl and scream if they see a Trump sign, but those people are basket cases that'll end up being institutionalized. Literally, they're only sabotaging themselves. Their new intelligentsia, because they want such a brainwashed bot, is literally someone that can't wipe their own rear end. We're inheriting the world because the globalists gave their own people lobotomies. Actually, Cernovich, it's almost like it's a conspiracy by elites that are patriots to sabotage this. Because sometimes I sit back and look, I mean, we're going to win.
Well, I joke that Louise Mensch is actually on my payroll because she has done way more to discredit the left and make them look so kooky. All these bizarro conspiracy people on Twitter, their conspiracy theories. And sometimes I wonder, is Russia actually, because here's what I would do if I were Russia. I would pay these morons to be kooky and to humiliate everybody to discredit the whole story about Russia. That's far more effective than anything anyone else could do. So I'm very grateful for
attack Roger Stone, Alex Jones, Ron Paul, Donald Trump, Mr. America. Call us Russian agents, then any criticism of Russia is seen as clownish.
Yeah, look, this is the conspiracy theory of all time. This is the left-wing mainstream media conspiracy theory. Trump had to collude with the Russians to win. No, he didn't. And there is no evidence.
No, you ran a corpse, Hillary Clinton.
Right. I mean, there's just no evidence to this. And they continued.
All right, I got to take phone calls. This is all riveting. And I know, and I love, soon he'll have his own show 3 hours a day, but I know it's all prepared for his hour, then I run over it. But we're going to bring in from the other studios, you can pop in. Also, we're going to have a break, too, but a few minutes of the next hour with David and I to take calls as well. But look, we're going to go to Mike, Zach, Jane, Dean, and Gary. But first, let's go ahead and go to Dean in Wisconsin. He has a question for Roger Stone. Go ahead, Dean.
Hey, Alex. I just want to say about purging the government. Trump should just go to each department and just fire everyone and bring every low-level patriot up into the, all the...
No, I totally agree, but they scare him with train wrecks or government shutdown, so he wants to be judicious. He wants to be smart about it, but then but that's a great question. How do we accelerate the purge? Thanks, go ahead.
No, look, I actually think the caller's exactly right. First of all, he needs a hatchet man. He needs somebody who'll go into each department and determine who those who are disloyal are and terminate them. He also needs a political operation in the White House that finds and vets Trump supporters, people with experience, people with government experience, people with proven capability who come out of the campaign.
Which is everybody mid-level in government seems to be for Trump because they love the country. Liberal or conservative, they all support him. He's got a giant base of people.
I mean, it seems to me that if you worked for George W. Bush or the Republican National Committee, that should exempt you from a job in the Trump White House, not accelerate you.
What do you think about Mike Rogers? That's what the FBI is saying they want. I mean, he's got to be better.
A disaster. I mean, Donald Trump needs an FBI director who is loyal to Trump's vision for the country. First of all, Mike Rogers said that Donald Trump was not surveilled at Trump Tower.
Sure. What about Trey Gowdy?
Trey Gowdy would be spectacular. I noticed on Fox this morning he was not on the list. Ray Kelly, the former New York police commissioner, someone Donald Trump knows well, not on the list. Judge Jeanine Pirro, former judge, former prosecutor, not on the list. These are the Trump loyalists. Look at that list.
By the way, as we know, those are really on Trump's list, though. Fox and others are putting out fake lists to create this perception.
I hope that is the case, because in this case, I looked at that list, and every single one of them is an establishment lackey. There's nobody on that list who is a Trump loyalist and who understands the struggle between the globalists and...
Sure, but didn't Mike Rogers expose Benghazi at least?
He was good on that, yes.
I mean, he's a lot better than Comey.
Well, who isn't? My dog is better than Comey. I mean, please.
Okay, all right. Dean, thank you. Let's go ahead and talk to a guy in Quad City. Mike, you're on the air worldwide. Go ahead.
Hey, hey, Alex. I just want to know that I'm praying for you.
Thank you.
And your family, and on all your team too. But the people in the news media have no business getting your privacy, and I don't need knows your privacy of your family business. But when you come to public, I think it's just very disgraceful when you hear about your story. And question for Roger Stone, and I do have a question for you, Alex, is that I am hard of hearing. I watched Infowars on Roku and watched it maybe 3 times to watch it to understand without the closed caption. But I understand it costs a lot of money to run that. But do you think it's causing a problem with the news people are trying to take away?
Yeah, no, we've got all sorts of sabotage. And I thank you for your call, sir. It costs us $110,000 a year to have closed captioning. And we're doing it. And then even when we do it, we have problems. And it's not sent out over the cable, the internet for you. So for the listeners that don't know what we deal with money-wise, trying to really do this and get to everybody, $110,000 is a lot. For closed captioning, it's a real person. We have to pay for a digital fee that's thousands a year, so a real person is doing it. And I'm glad you called in. God bless you, Mike. Thank you. That's what I deal with every day, trying to get money in here. Is that people don't know what it's like with satellites and stuff and legal and licensing and all the stuff we deal with. It's a lot of money. And so, yes, we want to close caption all the shows. And I'm sorry, some of the shows aren't closed caption. That's not done to put you down or anything like that. It's that we literally are under attack and lawsuits and George Soros and everything else, and I want to be able to do that. So I know only 3 hours of the show every day is closed caption. People complain the other stuff isn't closed caption. I don't have the money. It's hundreds of thousands more, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I'm glad the caller called, though, because you don't screen these calls. You get the sausage making behind the scenes that makes me just throw my hands up. The listeners don't know how much money it costs to run this. People say, oh, just start a network. You know, people want a new network. Well, we're trying to do it. It takes money.
Agreed.
Well, we don't have $1 billion. That's what I tell people is we don't have $1 billion budgets. We're not driving Ferraris and flying private jets. We can make so much more money selling people on real estate, commercial real estate.
Absolutely.
People like us could do so much. If we wanted to make money, we're the worst business in the world to make money on. Right. And that's what people don't realize.
I'm not bragging. A lot of my family are way more money than I ever made. They're all successful. Exactly. I'm doing this because I really, really care. Exactly. Well, this is a uphill battle, but what we're going to get on the end is so big. But I'm glad the guy called in about, hey, some of your shows aren't closed captioning. And then the stuff Google's got that's supposedly free, it just doesn't work very well. It's money.
Yep.
It's money. In fact, we're about to launch more satellite time. And I got to do all that, too, as well. Roger, you're looking at that pizza.
I'm hungry.
More calls straight ahead. Thank you, Mike. We're going to go to Gary and Carlos and Jeanette and Zach. This is such a big topic. We'll do a little bit of radio in the next hour and take more of your calls and hand the batons to David Knight. We'll go to Gary and everybody that's holding her in a moment. But we talked about it earlier and kind of gave our advice. But Trump's shaking things up. He's sick of his media people not responding in real time. He's sick of them always worried about what he's doing and his agenda and you know, kind of criticizing it instead of criticizing the MSM. So Mike Cernovich asking you and then Roger Stone, what do you think of this big shakeup that they now admit Trump's about to engage in? What would you advise the president to do?
I would advise them to bring in Roger Stone or somebody Roger Stone recommends and say, it's time to clean house. It is time to get rid of people who are actively sabotaging you. Who cares if they want to sue you? Who cares? Let them call the union. Who cares? It is time to get rid of them all at once. Let them cry. Let them file their dumb lawsuits. We don't care. This is about saving America. This is about getting active saboteurs and the criminals out. So he needs to bring in somebody willing to do whatever it takes. That has to be Trump's motto.
No, I agree. And he starts, let me ask you about this. He starts a couple days a week or more, the fireside chat with graphics showing you his, people love it to be top rated. He goes on the offense with his agenda. He has people that are 24 hours a day doing press announcements. Sure, have the press a few days a week in the room with you, but it's about your agenda. You're putting your ideas out, not just written like the president said, but you've got people out there out front. We'll dominate the whole cycle. We'll win. It's a no-brainer. He must do it. What's holding that back, Roger?
Look, based on his history of getting phenomenal television ratings, I think you've hit on the solution here. A weekly report to the American people that is unfiltered by the mainstream media would be enormously successful.
So Donald Trump's report to America.
The two things I would do additionally to a total White House staff shakeup is I would direct the Assistant Attorney General for Antitrust to begin immediately reviewing the activities of Google and Facebook and Yahoo and Twitter. And
that's the true offense move because they're openly doing it. We've caught them. Cernovich got the documents.
So, I mean, that, and then, frankly, I would ask, I would direct Attorney General Jeff Sessions to convene a grand jury and to bring Bill and Hillary Clinton and Kelsey and everybody else involved in the criminal enterprise of the Clinton Foundations in front of the grand jury.
That would energize the base. So indict the criminals. Weekly fireside chat. Don't worry about the production. Just get it done.
Content
at the same
creator,
time.
right. Daily vlogs. That's the whole point is he needs to bring it to talk to somebody like you and say, hey, I want to do, Trump needs to do a daily vlog. Here's what we did. Here's where I visited. He needs to manage his content and his press strategy.
He needs to do what brought him to power.
Which is, if you go to chargehillaryclinton.com, we're trying to amass 1 million signatures to send to the president on a petition saying, indict Hillary Clinton. Direct your attorney general to convene a grand jury. No person is above the law.
Well, that's the good news. What's your inside baseball on that now that he's getting rid of this puppet that was in bed with the Clintons and HSBC and you know everything else? What's the word, Cernovich? What's the word then Stone on lock her up?
Well, I just did an article to Nico and Politico, which is it's called How Trump Gets His Fake News Diet. But the real insight to there is Reince Priebus is outed himself as the leaker now, because the whole point of the article is, oh my God, all these people in the White House are giving Trump fake news. In other words, our news. And I'm the great guy, Reince Priebus. So Trump now knows he has confirmation Reince Priebus is the leaker.
You know, let's stop right here. This is why I'm horrible, but I'm good at the same time. I'll have the biggest news. I'll just throw it out like it's nothing, or I'll never get to it. I talked to you today, and I said, are you ready to release the leaker? And you said, screw it, let's do it. Then he separately just releases it, and it's like this huge, big media announcement, and we just let it out like a you-know-what in church. So let's come back, take calls a little bit, build this up, and then we're going to release the details of Reince Priebus, who is the spy, who is the operative. Wow, was against Trump in the campaign. Never Trump, destroy Trump, try to take the delegates away. Wow, I'm so surprised. I just can't believe it. David Knight in the other studio is coming up, but we're taking your phone calls. At the start of the next segment, we're going to get into Reince Priebus, the leaker, and the details. We've known this for a long time. We have to sit on top of us. We don't burn sources. And Stone was ready to do it today, and I just had him on for 2 hours, never did it. That's how I operate. Then turned to it separately, just went ahead and dropped it. So
blurted it out. Just blurted it out.
No, that's good. We hadn't even talked to him. He has great sources, too.
It shows that we're all hearing accurate information.
We're all synced up here, like, yeah, absolutely. So we're taking phone calls right now. Gary in the great state of Arizona, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex and Roger. I just want you to know your products are absolutely fantastic. I've been using them now for quite a long time, and I couldn't recommend any higher. But anyway, I changed my political affiliation from independent to Republican just in order to vote for Donald Trump. So I have been a very strong supporter of his. But I have a two-part question for you, Alex, or Mike. Now, the last time I asked this question to Roger, and I got a spin job. So, and that's no disrespect to you, Roger.
That's what I do.
But anyway, the aerosol spraying of toxic chemicals all over America is increasing every day, and here in Phoenix, we're getting pounded like never before. Donald Trump could have stopped this on the first day of his presidency. I know he could have, but instead he is allowing it to continue. There is a complete silence from the president.
Oh, well, let me respond to that. They're ignoring him in all the agencies. There's all sorts of secret programs going on. There is geoengineering going on. The CFR admits it. I've seen less of it. Maybe it's worse in Arizona. But specifically, what would you like to see Trump do? I mean, you're probably educating him now. Go ahead.
Well, here's my question: how can Donald Trump? And again, I'm a supporter. I'm not a critic. You know, I'm a critic. I'm a critic of his, but I'm a supporter. But how can Donald Trump have any hope of making America great again when he is jeopardizing the health and welfare of his fellow Americans?
Well, so you're talking about, here's the deal, you're talking about...
Why do you assume that he knows about it?
It's deep state, man.
Why do you assume that he knows about it? Do you think maybe someone on the White House staff has told him about this?
I've got a building next to me full of crew members that I only go to like once a week. I don't know what they're doing 100 yards from me. Go ahead, sorry.
No, but look, the president, any president, every president lives in a cocoon. And Reince Priebus has sought to control flow of information. The president told Anthony Scaramucci he wanted to see him this week. Yet Reince Priebus keeps knocking him off the president's schedule.
So let's expand the question the listener's really asking then. How do we get Trump out of his cocoon?
Well, he needs a staff change. I mean, if he is not getting in his daily news briefing, Breitbart, InfoWares, Daily Caller, Cernovich, then something's wrong. Those who are complaining that he is getting those things, what they're complaining about is they haven't been able to keep them out.
Well, like you said, he didn't understand that they're blocking for months all his positive Twitter comments. He's noticed that. He's like, where's all my people? And because he didn't even understand, they're only giving him the negative stuff.
That's exactly right.
Trump doesn't even think his support's there anymore. That's why he goes out to rallies. He goes, I'm glad you're still here. And his wife leads the Lord's Prayer because they're so freaked out. Cernovich?
Yeah, that is why there's a great article in Politico which revealed that Reince Priebus is now the leaker. We might as well talk about that. Roger can talk about it.
Why did we let them have that? We already had this weeks ago, but there it is. How Trump gets his fake news.
So they didn't actually reveal Reince Priebus as the leaker there, but if you read it, the entire article is trying to make Reince Priebus look like this great smart guy around a bunch of fools.
By the way, I knew this 6 months ago.
Bad idea.
Reince Priebus and others run into the president with the printouts they want to.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to be honest with you about this. I really am. I've had it up to here with Reince Priebus. This guy is, he is a malevolent midget, is what he is. He did not want Donald Trump to become president. He shifted campaign funds in Pennsylvania from Trump, $750,000 to Pat Toomey. He did the same thing in Virginia in an attempt to undermine us at the last minute. He cannot be trusted.
Let's come back and talk more about that. Stay with us. This is key. All right, so Gary brought up secret government projects, and we've already documented that the State Department is just completely ignoring what the president wants. Every other agency, he's throwing fits. He's about to have a purge. He says that there's all sorts of stuff going on he's upset about. But I hear you. I'd like to see geoengineering and secret programs exposed. But I think, Gary, that Roger Stone and Mike Cernovich kind of answer your question. Before you called, the theme of this is Trump's being ignored. Does that make sense?
Yes, but in the meantime, I think the American people are being ignored. I mean,
I think it's up to us to get a hold of through C-SPAN and TV and radio and rallies and messages and, you know, paper airplanes we throw over the wall at the White House. We need to get the message to him. It's up to us.
Candidly, the president gets more of his news through television than he gets through.
That's the problem. Even mainline Republicans, they still watch TV. He's 70 years old. He does get some news on the road. Well, let's talk about it. Let's put the Politico article. Thank you, Gary. Let's put the Politico article up and actually get Cernovich to comment on it. Then you go ahead.
Right. So the Politico article is a Reince Priebus leak job to try to make it so that Trump won't read us anymore. So the whole article spin is that freedom fighters are giving Trump truthful information from people like us, and that this has to stop, and Reince Priebus is mad.
Are we in this story?
No, we're not, fortunately, but they, the point is that they want to keep us out of Trump's news diet. Reince Priebus is, because Reince Priebus is really nervous now because...
Well, we already know that. When Trump gets to call people, Priebus is like floating around on the phone line, reportedly.
Yeah, no, and when the president has meetings, Priebus is always in the meeting. So how can you run the government when you're spending all the time trying to...
Why does Trump let him be in the meetings? You're like, you're there, and then Priebus is there in the corner going, I mean...
Well, the president does occasionally turn to him and say, did you get that down right? It's treating him like a secretary. Look, this guy is no Bob Haldeman. He's no Jim Baker. He's not even an Andy Card. He is so over his head in terms of capability. It's a joke. He's just.
But the establishment likes him as he leaks like a sieve.
He should. Let's appoint him ambassador to Ireland and get rid of him. The president would be better served by somebody who is loyal to Donald J. Trump. I could name 3 people who are more than capable of doing this job.
How close is Priebus? My sources say that Trump's deciding, but he really wants to blow him, Spicer, and a bunch of other people out the airlock. From your intel, who is on the chopping block?
I think Spicer's in desperate trouble. One thing about Donald Trump is he doesn't like to be pushed. When you push him, he resists. He does not like to be told to do things. Perfect example, David Duke. Of course you would throw David Duke over the side the first time his name came up.
He'd done it a decade before.
He had done it before when I was working for him.
So somebody said, hey, KKK David Duke, oh, I hate him.
Because the media insisted that he do it, then he resisted, and then, of course, he ultimately did it. There's no value in having a David Duke around, and Donald Trump has no truck with racism or racists like Duke. But it's a perfect example of pushing him into a corner. So at the end of the day, he's going to have to clean house to save his presidency. There's no question about that.
So he is in a crisis. He's got the people, he's got the agenda, he's got the truth behind him, but he's surrounded by traitors who don't want to compromise, who don't want him to work with them. They want to mount his head on the wall.
Well, or they want to moderate him, which means emasculate him.
Well, I just see how his own people bitch when he does stuff. He's the president. You're not. Why did you think, I think it's the cherry on top with the nut sprinkles, why did he hide in the bushes? Why did Sean Spicer last week hide in the bushes? He really was.
Because I don't think he wanted to go out there and defend the President of the United States. What was the great quote I read the other day from a White House staffer who said, oh, my God, what has he done now? I mean, this is the same thing I saw, by the way, under Reagan, where they underestimate the principle and his strength and his power and
they're weak
and talent, right? And they don't want to fight; they want to compromise.
They're followers. They're not leaders. I mean, here's my deal. I don't want the White House press job. I'm not even saying I would get it. The point is, it'd be fire-breathing. It'd be unapologetic. They'd be on their heels. His own people don't get why Trump's successful, because he's brazen, he's naked, he's real, he's committed, he's bona fide, he's not a fake.
You notice it was Ronald Reagan who brought Pat Buchanan back into the White House press operation? That's what you need. A young Pat Buchanan, somebody who is smart, somebody who is combative, somebody who will grab the other guys by the throat and pull them down the hill. A fighter. Like Trump, a fighter. Instead, we have people who are trying to be conciliatory. And kiss the ass.
And conciliatory is fine if people are being trying to conciliatory with you. They're running around saying, kill the president, kill us, shut down free speech, arrest everyone. A group of people with flaming torches running at you is not someone you make a deal with.
Well, and as the New Yorker magazine showed us last week, there's a subset of liberals now who say he's insane and we've got to remove him because he's crazy, just because he doesn't agree with them, just because he doesn't.
And then again, people go, oh, you're settling establishment. The Pope, the Chinese communist dictator, the Saudi Arabians, the corrupt Mexican government, the corrupt Canadian government, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, all these, the EU, they're all against Trump. What nutball wouldn't be for him?
I mean, if mental instability is the hallmark, why did we have a rapist as president for 8 years? A rapist, a serial sexual assaulter. So this line of...
Sure, I totally agree. So let me ask you this question, because I want to put this together. Maybe we should do a tape thing later, because this is really a big deal. Trump will listen to this. I want to take a few calls here, and then I'll bring David Knight in. David Knight, what do you think President Trump should do with a shakeup? I mean, I think he should do fireside chats. People try to make it too produced. Just get up there with his basic graphics, his facts. He gives them a day before, the 10-point thing he wants to cover. That they have the clips, just like he sees on Facebook, just like he sees on Twitter. He gets up and says, here's the clip of 20 Democrats saying fire the FBI director. See? That's all I'm doing. This guy says I'm crazy because there was wiretapping. Here's the New York Times saying there was wiretapping. Let's move to the next agenda. He goes in for 45 minutes, hits like 10 points, then maybe has a few journalists, a mix, takes a few questions. He does that once or twice a week. Game over. He's defeated him. Okay, that's my idea. Let's do it. Oh, what do you think, David?
I think you're absolutely right, Alex. You know, Ronald Reagan said he was going to transcend Washington. He was going to go directly to the people. He never did it or had the potential to do it in the way that Donald Trump does.
Well, they put a bullet in him before he could.
Yeah, I think you ought to go beyond just canceling the press conferences. I think you ought to do exactly what you said. Go directly to the people, bypass these daily press conferences that are going, bypass the press secretary. Right. And I think he ought to use these bully pulpits, not just to defend himself personally, but to advance his agenda, to tell the American people, look, I want you putting pressure on Washington with me. Together, the two of us can get this agenda that I ran on, that you voted for, done, and we can shut down Washington. I think that's exactly what...
Yes, and David, and I want all you to comment on this and take calls. I'll turn it over to you, David. I've been prepared for this hour for all day. Trump must know, and I think he knows this now, that's where we're getting from multiple sources, very high up, is that he gets there's no compromise. He gets they don't make sense. They want to run the country. They don't care about the power of what they run. They have no rubber meets the road basic understanding. Oh, you guys got a mic open in there. So they have no understanding of this basic system, and he now understands that and understands he's in a death battle, and that if he goes all the way, he wins. If he doesn't, he loses. And so now it's up to all of us to understand just how critical this moment really is.
Like, so over the weekend, we had James Clapper say, our institutions are under attack internally by President Trump. I had said on Friday that all these liberals were saying it's a coup, it's a coup. No, it wasn't really a coup. What Donald Trump did was within his legal rights as president. He is still president, so it was not technically a coup. But they see it as a coup because it was someone that they see simply as a stated preference by the people they're not accounted to, the elected president. They saw it as a coup against the swamp, against the unelected bureaucracy that stays there permanently. And that's what we're seeing from James Clapper. He says, our institutions are under attack. I'm going to talk about that in detail, what James Clapper was really saying. But that's what they're looking at, Alex. They're looking at the fact that Donald Trump would actually fire one of the higher-ranking members of the permanently entrenched bureaucracy.
That's right. These are arrogant, entitled lords who believe that they own us, and Trump is involved in a coup against the swamp.
Yeah.
The swamp is trying to have a coup over Trump.
That's right.
Now, is this
the
same?
counter-coup.
Is this the same James Clapper who testified falsely to the U.S. Congress about the collection of metadata, proven to be a lie by Edward Snowden?
He said nobody spies the American people, and that's the same story we hear over and over again with FBI Comey saying Trump's crazy. Nobody spies on anybody.
But they let Clapper come back and clean it up and apologize instead of indicting him for perjury and sending him to jail where he belongs.
That's right. That's right. And a politicized member of the National Security Council, as he's setting in his positions during the election, actually using that as a bully pulpit to get involved in politics. Why would we be surprised to find out that they use the national security apparatus to look and to investigate into politicians way beyond Donald Trump, but also people like Rand Paul? He said another senator has told him that he's also been told
well, we got looked at. You better believe they're listening right now.
You know, one of the questions I want to ask, and I was on Real Time with Bill Maher about a month ago now, and Michael Hayden was the former CIA director, was one of the guests. Why do these guys all have shaved heads? Is it like some secret club or something? Did you ever notice this? Brennan, a Clapper, I mean, all of them. Hayden, they all have these shaved heads. It must be some like secret signal or something.
Well, I think there's not some such secret signals when they brag about what they're doing. I mean, James Clapper is going to be the worst poker player in the world. When he was lying to Ron Wyden, he's like, you know, looking down and rubbing his face. But then you had Michael Hayden go to Washington Lee University and brag about the fact that he didn't need any special provisions under even the Patriot Act, which is unconstitutional. He said, I had a direct order from the president. I could do whatever I wanted. That's the mindset of these people. And he has the nerve to go on with Judge Napolitano and say that he's a libertarian. At that point,
it's just totally insane. It's totally crazy.
Do you remember when Nixon said, if the president orders it, that makes it legal?
That's right.
And how all the lefties went crazy when he said that?
That's right.
Where were they when Hayden said essentially?
That's right. Let's take a few final calls and let David Knight take over. But Mike Cernovich, you've been holding there patiently. Your take on what you've just been hearing.
Oh, no, I'm just listening in. It's great roundtable discussion, so I don't have anything to add.
You do have stuff to add. That's I mean, what's the next big shoe drops from your intel? You said we're going to be very, very happy soon about what Trump's about to do from your sources.
Well, Roger covered the Sean Spicer angle. Trump knows he has to get rid of Rents. He has to get rid of Spicer. I don't know that he's going to fire Spicer right away, though. I think he's playing mind games on him because, as Roger will tell you, Trump likes to pit people against each other because competition brings out the best in people. And now Spicer is, because Spicer's a beta male, so now he is shook up a little bit. And I don't think he's going to rise to the occasion. So I don't think he's out right away. But Trump is definitely letting him know, hey, I'm interviewing these other people. You better up your game. You better quit hiding in the bushes. You need to call on alternative media. I mean, talk about media strategy. Why is Spicer giving the first questions to the fake New York Times, to the fake Associated Press? Why isn't he asking alternative media more
why is there all this butt kissing? I mean, doesn't he get that doesn't get him anywhere?
Well, look, I think we all know that Katie Walsh, who was the deputy to Reince Priebus, was fired because they caught her leaking. Who do you think directed her to leak? Reince Priebus is the leaker, and the leaks are not.
Oh, yeah, we went to break and never got to that. I'm never good at our biggest story of the day. Dun, dun, dun. Mike Cernovich. Then, of course, Roger Stone. Stone told me before the show, he's ready to go after Priebus. He's the leaker. Now, you're saying this Politico thing basically shows he's the one. Let's both spend a few minutes on that, then the final calls.
Right, so you have to use, good lawyerly reasoning and deductive reasoning. One thing I noticed a couple months ago, and I even wrote the article, The Dog That Didn't Bark, based on a Sherlock Holmes story. I said, where are the Reince Priebus hit pieces? That was, because as human beings, we notice what is in our face, but a lot of times we don't notice what is in there. And I noticed you couldn't find a bad article about that guy anywhere in the world. And I thought that's really weird because everybody else in Trump world gets hammered and smacked.
That's right. Reince Priebus is the giant bloated butt that the diarrhea just squirts out of.
Well, look, no, they buy immunity by leaking. Don't write that about me. I'll give you something better. Is it incidental that that days before Anthony Scaramucci, a patriot, a guy who is better on TV defending Donald Trump, in my view, than anyone else, that there's a hit piece on him about his business dealings? All of it bogus. Who planted that? How did that get in the paper? I can tell you, Reince Priebus, that's how.
Now, I'm not against short people. I'm not the tallest guy. I mean, like, 5'11". But I'm told that Reince Priebus is basically 5 feet tall. And actually,
it's Napoleonic, I think, is what you're trying to say. I mean, I think that the guy is, he's out of his depth here. He doesn't have the administrative capability to do this job. You can't be both in the meetings trying to cover your ass with the boss and still have time to run the federal government.
I was about to say, I mean, this guy's clearly a weasel, and Trump knows that. So how long until Reince Penis is gone?
Look, you can't push Donald Trump. It is always a mistake. He will do the right thing, but this is broken. It's not working. One does not have to be a genius to see that.
Now, do they have dirt? Because Trump's saying, hey, better watch out, I'm recording conversations. All the phone calls are recorded. The media acts like they don't. Though that's true or not, that's just a fact. It's not dirty. It's going on. How does Reince Priebus, I misspoke, how does he strike back? Then, I mean, do they have some kind of dirt that they're threatening to release?
I don't think he has any cards here. I think he is living day to day. And he was never the right guy.
So Reince Priebus is kind of like a limp biscuit.
In a sense, yes.
Mike Cernovich, your comments on Reince.
Well, Roger brought up the point is how he bought immunity. That's why there are no hit pieces. And then that political article is like the cherry on top, where the whole article says, oh, my God, Trump is being spread this fake news. But Reince Priebus, he's really trying to make sure that Trump isn't giving any fake news. So it's a total hatchet job on everybody except Reince Priebus. And I thought, Reince, you idiot. You fool, you moron.
He should at least plant something bad about himself.
You know, it's interesting. When I worked for Ronald Reagan, they used to try to keep Human Events, which was, one of the early conservative newspapers, a great publication, try to keep it away from him because they didn't want him to read it because he would read things there and he would blurt them out. And he'd
even read LaRouche stuff.
I mean, it destroyed their efforts to move him to the center and, quote unquote, moderate him. But the good news is that Dutch loved his Human Events, and he wanted to see it every week. I wish the president would demand to see InfoWars every day, because they attempt to keep it from him, and it's not on the television screen where he is used to seeing his television, so he's got to go looking for it.
Wow, Cernovich, I want to take a few final calls. I appreciate all your time. You never even plug yourself. StoneColdTruth.com, InfoWars.com. I know you've got a lot of sites, a lot of things. You do a lot of Twitter, Facebook. Where's the best places for people to find all things Mike Cernovich, the great hated patriot?
Yeah, Twitter.com/CERNOVICH, Twitter.com/Cernovich is usually a good place to be. And we've been developing this Reince Priebus thing for a while, so I'm glad that Roger got confirmation, too, that it's Reince. And, again, we need more news going to Trump. So, people, what can you do? Share, because Trump does read his Twitter. Share articles to InfoWars by replying to @RealDonaldTrump. That is how we'll wake him up. Share this video that we've done right now. Share the videos with Trump. Reply to him, because Trump he watches television for a lot of news, but he does get a lot of news from his Twitter. So we need to bombard his feed with
And the great thing is when he actually responds.
Yeah, he is reading his Twitter feed, which is how he figured out that they were pushing all his positive comments to the bottom or deleting them and pushing all the negative ones to the top. But it was not until somebody mentioned that to him that he saw that it was real.
Wonder who that was.
Somebody. In any event, look, this is going to be a struggle. Trump can still be the transformative president we need him to be, but not when he's surrounded by these midgets, by these pygmies.
And Reince Priebus, other than short guys, I mean, he should be a Lollipop Guild extra on the new remaking of the Yellow Brick Road. What's the name of that movie?
He's too
Wizard
tall.
of Oz.
He's too tall for that, I think. But look, without the personal attacks, he's not up to this. He's Paul Ryan's man. He's dreaming of the Paul Ryan presidency post-Trump. Trump needs a Trump loyalty.
Is he dreaming of Paul Ryan coming in and, like with the roses?
Very definitely.
And a bottle of wine? And
no,
them like holding hands and getting like a carriage? Driving around D.C. together?
They are plotting a future.
Is it true that Reince Priebus and Paul Ryan?
They're very close, but I'm not going there. Look, you have to have a guy who is loyal to you. A David Urban, an Ed Martin.
Is it true that Reince Priebus
are Trump loyalists.
It's true that Priebus puts on a wig?
Stop.
I'm trolling the media. I'm sorry. Let's do one more call before we hand it over to David Knight, who's a sweetheart, sitting there while I go crazy. Zach in Florida. Zach, the Lego Maniac. You're on the air with Mike Cernovich. Go ahead.
Going, Alex, Roger, and Mike. I was actually on the air with you guys the 14th of last month when you guys were on. I dropped the strategic patient CFR intel. I don't know if you remember that call.
That was powerful, yeah, the whole deal. Yeah, what do you think's going on?
It's pretty interesting that you guys happen to be on at the same time again when I call back in. But I caught a lot of hell from that through CID and FBI stuff. But I'm covered. I didn't say anything too out of line, and that was very powerful. I know you had a lot of interpersonal things going on behind the scenes. But if you,
I remember that call. That was big info.
Well, we dropped the strategic patience thing on your show. You guys delve into it, and then Pence 2 days later literally uses those lines, which haven't been uttered out of a diplomatic channel in the U.S. in a long time. So that was very powerful. I held just about over an hour. I kind of hope this got on the main show, but nonetheless, you guys are talking about Priebus and Spicer. Who cares about those guys? We got Stone, we got Jones, and we got Cernovich. You think Trump cares about these guys that he could change interchangeably? He knows who you guys reach. So the power brokers are in the room, and they're talking, and they're on the show right now. So that's what's really going on. All the three.
Well, I wish that were true, but let me just say to you that personnel is policy, and we don't have the levers of government. Yes, maybe we can help organize the troops and rally the people, but you must have people in office who will